Ooh, sorry about that. Welcome to Loud Nerdy on a Tuesday night. My name is JW Colwell. I'm joined by Jerry Kamora tonight. I don't know if we're gonna get Kyle, so if you came to see
See,
Kyle, this is not your night. But thank you for joining us. We're appreciative. Fucking up left and right here. You're on your phone. The computer update at the worst possible time. We got stuff going on. Okay. So I don't know. Kyle's might come, maybe not, but he's had a real tough time at work. But if you've come to see either me or Jerry or Kyle, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel or Facebook page or the Instagram or any of the places where you get your media. We do a live show we try to do a live show every Tuesday night. Aside from obvious holidays and things where health issues usually health issues or holidays that keep us down to two H's. Jerry, how is your week? We're in the middle of January. The nation's in a deep freeze, including Florida. I just put out the garbage.
yep,
It's like 35 degrees outside.
yeah, I've been sick this week.
I
To be honest, I got a cold.
I get
I'm getting through it though. Had to do some snow blowing in the middle of it, but
Jesus.
life goes on. That's why
I
God
don't
made dads.
the cold, man. The cold is I don't like it anymore. I used to
What's the
be
temp down there?
so we I just went outside and did the garbage. It was like 40 degrees.
That's
And
cold for there.
that's very cool. Well, yeah, it's the equivalent of 8 at your place. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we're
well,
usually in
yeah.
the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Well, your
So
body gets used to certain temperatures when you've been
yeah,
in it for a long time, right?
it's not good. Like I was out, I came in and I was like frozen, and I'm like, my wife had just gone out and come back in. I was like, Cal, why didn't you tell me it was like cold out? She goes, I thought you're the one that watches the weather. I'm like, okay, that's true. But I went out, did the garbage, did my duties, and went on. Okay, comments because Kyle's not here, so I got to do this. Hello, brothers. Hello, Sean Smithson.
What's up?
Ken McKernan. Good evening, friends. Good evening, Ken.
What's up, Ken?
Hey, Jamie Hill. Hey. Did I do
Hey,
that good?
hey, hey.
Hey. Hey guys. Hi, Raven. Posted nomination for the Razzies in the group. We'll take a look at them. Stay warm. It's cold as F outside. I would agree with that. And then minus
It
26 in
is.
Canada. No. I just say no to this. I say no to all of it. I don't want any
Got
coldness.
all of us beat there.
Um, So Ken posted the nominations for the Razzies in the group. We're gonna take a look at those first. That's a good place to start. Always good to. Ken does a pretty good job. What I've noticed, an interesting thing. I want to thank Ken for his diligence. I made him an
Yeah, he's on
admin.
top of stuff for sure.
He really is. He made I made him an admin for the Loud Nerdy group. The sheer volume of people we're getting that are just clearly selling porn. Where they pop into the group and they try to get in, and there's like I've set up things to make sure they can't get in because
Uh,
I don't want any bad shit in our group. I don't want
right.
anybody to feel unsafe or whatever. So I want to make sure. But it's it's a bit of a chore. We probably get 3 or 4 a week, and Ken usually before I get there has them taken care of. Raven says, "Okay, Ken, you win." But is anybody winning? No. So Razzies 2025, Joker 2 leads with 7 nominations. Phoenix and Lady Gaga up for Worst Actor. Madam Web, Megalopolis, and Reagan at 6 nods apiece. That's about right. Joker should win everything. It's easily the worst billion-dollar sequel in the history of film. Although the other nominees for Worst Picture are Borderlands, Madam Web, Megalopolis, and Reagan. We're gonna have a Dennis Quaid thing here. Best Actor nominees: Jack Black and Dear Santa, Zachary Levi, who's apparently decided he doesn't want a career in Hollywood, for Harold and the Purple Crayon because he's become super political and he's making bad movies. So Joaquin Phoenix, Joker, Dennis Quaid, Reagan, and Jerry Seinfeld, Unfrosted. Worst actress: Kate Blanchett in Borderlands, Lady Gaga, Bryce Dallas Howard in Argyle, Dakota Johnson in Madam Web, Jennifer Lopez in Atlas. So yeah, I mean there are some easy movies to pick on this year. Borderlands is a bad movie too. But I think Joker is above and beyond. Like Joker is a sequel to a $1 billion movie with a talented superstar actor in it and a talented superstar actress / singer, and it's just bad. So that should win. Corn, I like popcorn. It was National Popcorn Day the other day. All the porn stays in Jerry's basement, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where he keeps it. List the nominees further down. Yeah, I saw them. John Voight has quite a few nominate. Is he nominated for a lot of stuff, or is he just? Yeah, John Voight. John Voight has a bunch of nominations this year. Which is wild because he's the new ambassador to Hollywood, I guess. I don't know what the fuck's happening, to be honest.
Runaway Train.
Borderlands wasn't bad, just right? Formula. We were talking about Runaway Train.
That's a good movie.
We're talking about Runaway Train with regards to Generation Movie, but we came up with what we're doing next week. I'll let everybody know at the end of the episode what we're doing next week on Generation Movie. What do you think? What do you think about? Okay, so Jerry, you love movies. There are clearly good movies and bad movies, right? But what do you think about? I disagree, Jasper. Borderlands is a bad movie. It's not. It wasn't good formula. It wasn't. It was bad. Joker 2 was absolutely horrendous. I want my time back. I wasted watching that crap. J-Dub, comedian Robert Bass. How are you, buddy? We should have had you on with like an extra seat tonight. But anyway, what do you think? Do you think that do you go by the idea that there are no bad movies that ever, like, we shouldn't judge movies badly? Or do you go by the idea that there are bad movies that we have to call out for being bad movies?
There are bad movies. Yes.
And they get made and they waste money and they waste people's time and money. And I think it's one of those things we have to start calling them out.
Well, I know sometimes you get this is so-and-so's vision. Well, their vision just didn't hit. Sorry. Sometimes that happens, right?
Well, speaking of vision, we weren't. It was a little late to the week last week, but we would be remiss on a pop culture show or a movie show to not talk about David Lynch for a moment, right? David Lynch,
Eraserhead.
We were talking about it a little bit last night, but Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks. Yep. Right, The Straight Story, which I think is one of the great unheralded David Lynch movies.
I have the Twin Peaks box set over here on VHS.
They're releasing the complete Twin Peaks thing in like a couple of weeks. So like the idea that you get both series entries, the movie and everything, and all kinds of bonus material. Blue Velvet is where I found him. I was 12. Blue Velvet came out. One of the fucking weirdest, most wonderful, dark underbelly of suburbia kind of movies.
His stuff has a strange element, though, to begin with, right?
Well, he has a through line that he's looking at the human condition. Rich made a valid point last night that he is one of the very few filmmakers that understands dreams and nightmares and how to translate them from like a book on psychology to a movie or a TV show. Like the idea that, like the dwarf talking backwards, freaked people out when it happened. But it's like one of those things where it's like sometimes shit happens in dreams where things are talking backwards. He was also an artist. He was a musician. He was very much a Renaissance man. I was reading one of the more interesting things. He ate at not Arby's. He ate at Bob's Big Boy every day. Every day until he got too sick to leave the house. And he would go and have lunch at Bob's Big Boy in LA. And then, so a bunch of people left gifts on the Bob's Big Boy. And there's a picture of him at the Bob's Big Boy with John Waters. Which is yes, That's why didn't they ever make a movie together? That would have been amazing. Log Lady, yes. On old, really bad movies, Beast Within, Coming at You, Boogeyman.
I didn't mind The Beast Within.
Beast Within has some really great sequences of like gore, right?
The effects were okay.
And it's got Ronnie Cox. I like Ronnie Cox. And a Weatherman, yes. Cherry Pie Coffee and Big Boy, yes. But yeah, so he's one of those filmmakers that you either get or you didn't, and that's okay if you didn't. But he made so many great movies where you look up and you're just like, they're not necessarily all crazy. Like I said, my favorite movie of the bunch where you go, how did he make? Why did he make that? But like, The Straight Story is this amazing true story based on a true story movie where he basically, it's about a guy who goes from one place to another. He doesn't have a license anymore. He's too old. And he basically travels across country on his lawnmower, right? And it's a G-rated movie, that basically, it's a biographical road drama directed by David Lynch. It's one of those things where you're like, he was across the board excellent in everything he did. That movie had Richard Farnsworth, Sissy Spacek, and Harry Dean Stanton. You know what I mean? Like, not something you would necessarily think, but his films, like filmography, not huge, but consequential. Eraserhead, 77, 80, The Elephant Man, which is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, that was good too.
The original Dune, which again, kind of a misunderstood thing, but also severely cut by Universal when they made it. Blue Velvet in 86, Wild at Heart in 1990, which is a pretty great movie. Which again, with all our fascination with the Wizard of Oz, again is kind of got a Wizard of Oz theme to it. Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, right? Along with Twin Peaks, Lost Highway, Straight Story, Mulholland Drive, and Inland Empire. So he's prolific and he's important. Yeah, I would agree. You can never forget Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet, the moments that Isabella Rossellini is on, like, just kind of collapsing and just, are incredible. Kyle MacLachlan, kind of like his muse, but Dennis Hopper, fantastic in Blue Velvet. And what was interesting about his work is they're all the soft underbelly of suburbia, of our societies, of people that maybe were forgotten or lost or whatever, that get kind of wrapped up into, like, Twin Peaks is more about like this little town that knows everybody's business, but you don't really know everybody's business. You know what I mean? Like, and and that show was pretty, like, there was a time in this country where you had appointment television viewing, right?
Right.
Twin Peaks. I was thinking like in the 90s, Twin Peaks, fucking the X-Files. You know what I mean? Like, where you were at a television or with friends at a television or at college or whatever you were doing, and you were finding this show, and it's just one of those, he's the kind of director that can't be replicated or duplicated. We did Seven last night. I think, there was a big to-do online because a bunch of Zack Snyder people said he's the heir apparent to David Lynch. And it's like, what drugs are you people on? Can I get some? Because if I was looking for heir apparents, like a director that's like an heir apparent to David Lynch, I would say somebody like David Fincher, right? Who finds the soft underbelly and kind of jabs at it. Yeah, except for Alien 3. Alien 3 can go fuck itself. That's just how I feel about Alien 3. But David Lynch will be missed. Also news today, so we had Razzie nominations. We talked about that. Box office this weekend wasn't stellar. Ooh. Ooh, was that a dog? What was that? What's going on?
The sound?
Oh, no, that's you're doing weird shit. I never understood Twin Peaks. That's okay. It might be due for a rewatch, Ken. I paid my friend and bought VHS to watch a copy of it the next day. You were saying last night that was amazing. Wait, Zack Snyder really? Somebody in the Zack one like it got promoted through Facebook and Twitter that somebody said Zack Snyder is the heir apparent to David Lynch, and a bunch of David Lynch fans were like, "No, yeah, fuck that," because Zack Snyder is not. Whoa, what the fuck is that? I know it's Jerry's computer. Ooh, you got a lot of weird noises. What do you got
Is that
going
better?
on, Jerry? That's better.
Is that better?
That's better. That's better.
All
Although you're
right.
sick,
I was
so it's
messing
okay.
around with a speaker, just trying to so I could hear
Trying to
better,
see
but
if you
it didn't
get
work.
yeah. So you get oh well okay. We're gonna have to. I gotta work on getting you stuff, so you don't have to worry about. What else? Box office not great this week. This movie was supposed to be the number one movie of the weekend, and then it wasn't, which is odd.
Uh-oh.
This movie right here was
Is
supposed
that
to be
the wolf? Is that Wolfman?
Yes, it is. And who knew? Who knew, Jerry, that people don't like a Wolfman movie without Wolfman? Who knew? So here's the quick review, and I think they were trying to do cool things. It has a couple cool, interesting things going on, but it's the Invisible Man in the same way the Invisible Man that in the same way the Invisible Man was kind of like a reboot kind of that they did a couple years ago. Same director is Lee Wannell is responsible, and so instead of trying to do a classic werewolf movie, it's it's not really a werewolf movie. So what you're getting, I think the negative reaction to it, because it only got a C minus in cinema score, so people are coming out pissed. You know what I mean? Like, and very rarely do you come out of a horror movie pissed. Most people go to a horror movie.
So what is it like? The mutilated man?
It's a virus.
Oh,
It's
the
like
mutated virus man,
it's like a rabies kind of thing. And the thing about it is
like rabid.
little yeah, but not as much rabid. That's just insane. But what it is, it's I would say like genealogically from movie wise, it's akin to 28 Days Later, not really being a zombie movie, but being a virus movie. It's the same concept. It's desperately trying to bring the werewolf movie forward, but a werewolf movie doesn't need to be brought forward. Like Invisible Man needs to be brought forward because you like they built all the different things on it. You know, the idea that the guy was a billionaire and he was building this technology and he was abusive and she was trying to escape. So it had a built in that was kind of like very now, right? And so this is more of a virus movie. It takes place in like Oregon, so they're not a lot of victims. They're because they're all out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And everybody in the movie, screams creepy incel, except for the two women in the movie. And basically they've been hunting down these people in the woods that are sick. It starts with like a log line. Like I was thinking about it. Sometimes people are late for movies, and the log line in this movie is so important. In the beginning, it's basically, hey, a hiker disappeared in Oregon trail, Oregon woods, and the locals say he caught a virus that the indigenous peoples call wolf face. And you're like, but if you don't get that, if you walk in like 5 minutes late, you're kind of going, what the fuck? And so it's got a cool things going on. There's a whole like wolf vision thing or virus vision thing where he can see and hear things around him, but he can't communicate what's happening to him. So it's kind of cool. But if you're Universal Pictures and you're releasing a movie called Wolfman, people have expectations. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Christopher Abbott's actually really good. in the good performance, because he's got to go from cool kind of troubled dad to monster very quickly. He's pretty good. Julia Garner from Ozark is a little bit miscast. The little girl is good though as well. So let's see what else. Demon in the Machine, laugh out loud. Max Headroom's trying to cut in. Good evening, gentlemen. Hi, Joe Ridgely. Your reviews don't leave me wanting to see this, guys. How are you feeling, Joe? Good question. Hopefully Joe's feeling better. We got little ticks coming in from you, Jerry, so be careful on that. I wish you could hear. Anyway, but yeah, I don't hate it, but it's not a werewolf movie for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Ginger Snaps or The Howling or American Werewolf in London or my personal, Dog Soldiers is my.
So it should be The Infected Man.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know what else? Like, part of the problem with it. Remember when I showed you the picture that was at Universal Studios during Halloween, and then they eventually put it away? Those sequences are good, and the makeup is great, right? It's really good makeup, but it's not a wolf. So I just think people are disappointed.
It's a misleading title.
It's a misleading title, and I know why they titled it, because you're trying to guarantee some box office. But that's the thing; it didn't do well. It didn't
So it's more like The Wolf Man.
The Wolf. It was 90. It was like 20% off its projections, so it only grossed a certain amount of money over the weekend. It kind of dragged everything down with it, although there were some bright signs. One of them days, which is a comedy with a comedy that we haven't had a lot of. We haven't a lot of comedies that have done well. Ended up doing very well. Kiki Palmer, kind of coming out of nowhere, and it beat Wolfman, and it has great tracking, and it's like 96% on critic sites and 90 A from. So there's a chance for this movie to kind of bump along next couple weeks. The next big movie coming out is, of course, Captain America: Brave New World, which is the buzz is starting to, we don't know what's going to happen there, but it is the biggest release in February, so we'll see what happens. But Wolfman kind of defying expectations and coming in much lower. I just think horror fans are very particular. If you're calling yourself a werewolf movie, gotta be a werewolf. Right. You know what I mean? You gotta, like, it can't be wolf face. It's gotta be full wolf man. It's gotta be, and the thing is, Universal is so renowned. Like, think about all the werewolf movies that Universal's been a part of, and you just go, okay, fuck. But who knows? Other big news of the day, biggest news of the day. How about Ryan? How about Ryan Gosling? Maybe taking the reins of it, or being in a Star Wars movie directed by Sean Levy. Sean Levy's pretty good, but if you have a guy who's I have no idea what the project is, but it's a Star Wars movie. It isn't connected with the Skywalker saga, so it's not all there. Nobody knows exactly what it is, but he's rumored to be leading a Star Wars cast that will be the second new Star Wars movie in the next couple of years, behind The Mandalorian Grogu, which is slated for, May 22nd, 2026, so a year and a half from now. So, Gosling is one of those actors that you look at. Werewolf Game was supposed to be out today, I'm guessing streaming. Is that another movie? I know Or you're not talking about werewolves, right? Because that's the other thing. Like, werewolves game.
Hmm.
Is that a movie or is that a board game? What the fuck is it? Oh, is it an actual game? Like Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood? Oh, okay. Oh, it's like a game. Okay, werewolf game. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I saw the Grillo Werewolves movie was okay. Kind of dumb. Like also like moon screen. Just dumb shit. Where you're just like, what? And the other thing is, the werewolf genre has been such a great genre, right? We've had so many great underrated werewolf movies, and people know the difference. People can, they want a transformation. They want a David transformation. They want, like American Werewolf
Yes.
is probably the gold. American Werewolf in London is probably the gold standard, followed closely by The Howling, right?
I'd like to see that practical effect thing again.
Yeah, well,
I mean, CGI has its place and all, but there's something about the practical that just makes
the
it
funny
better.
thing about the practical effect is down here at Universal in Orlando, they do a movie makeup show, and that is a major part of the show, is showing you how David's transformation occurs with
That's
like the
awesome.
bladders and it just. So I don't know. There's so many better werewolf movies. The other one I was thinking about, like so many underrated. Dog Soldiers underrated.
Yep.
Ginger Snaps incredibly underrated. Werewolves as a kind of taking on the idea of female menstruation cycles and periods and just crazy shit. Really
Silver
good.
Bullet.
Tony Silver Bullet, yes. Silver Bullet. He looks more like a werebear though. He's so big. He's such a big werewolf. And he has like the bear snout face. When Gary Busey was cogent. Ginger Snap still rules for me. Remember when Gary Busey was normal? Remember that?
Yes.
Now he's on videos for the wrong.
Now he's out of his mind.
Now he's out of his fucking gourd.
That's because Mel Gibson beat the hell out of him.
And Lethal Weapon. But yeah, I'm disappointed Wolfman didn't do better, but I'm also not surprised. If that makes any sense?
I get it.
I don't know. But yeah, it's a weird thing when we get wrapped up in our. But I think people expect certain things. A lot of fighting about Star Wars today as well. Like just from a music perspective, we lost Garth Hudson of the band today. Right, the last surviving member of the band. Garth Hudson passed away. Keyboardist, professor of rock, as he was called. He passed away as well. So, we were losing people. David Lynch is a big loss because, like, one of the things that came up in the last couple of months was that Lynch was actually going to be trying to direct from his house. Like, he couldn't leave his house because he was sick, so he's going to try to direct from his house. Incredible. What else? What else do I have to talk about? We did 7 last night on Generation Movie. That movie still packs a wallop. 30 years after the fact. But that's the other thing. Like, and this another bit of news: Sonic 4 has set its release date, March 27th, March 19th, 2027. It's the only title on that date. Sonic is the little engine that could movie franchise right now. It's a rare 4th movie in a franchise, and they've all done better than the previous entry. So Sonic the Hedgehog 3 gross is going to finish up with about $230 million domestically. It's going to figure out a little bit under 450 million globally. Sonic the Hedgehog basically had 148 and 319 globally. Sonic 2 had 190 and 405 globally. It is the rare franchise, Jerry, that is growing on itself and getting more excited as time goes by, where kids are. It was also the first movie my nephews demanded to see opening night and also demanded to drag people to, which is cool for me. Because I do it all the time. But when they started like, we're going to bring this person and this person, we need to get tickets for this person. John Sykes from Whitesnake passed also. Jerry giving us a tour of the mansion / basement.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, beautiful.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you much better.
That's good.
I have these work headphones and they have the microphone in them. Perfect.
Nice. Turn it down a little bit, just because I can hear a reverb.
How do I do that?
I don't know. But yeah, so a little bit better. I don't think I hear myself talking. That's good. So what do you think about that? Like, we constantly talk about video game franchises not living up to snuff. Here we are in Sonic Land, and Sonic Land has become a little engine that could franchise. And to be honest, if it wasn't for Mufasa picking up steam in the last couple of weeks, it would have blown Mufasa out of the water. Not globally, certainly, because Disney still packs a punch, and so does The Lion King globally. But it has beaten Mufasa during the winter break, right? And now we get a fourth movie that they're definitely doing.
It's doing pretty well, I guess.
Yeah. It also just dropped today on digital, so you can get that. And there'll be a giant box set coming out for 4K and DVD and Blu-ray in a couple of months, like in April. So, what else? Ooh, somebody. Hold on. Oh no, they didn't. Okay. But yeah, I think that's a great little franchise. We got big TV shows coming back as well. Although we did have the end of Skeleton Crew last week, which was really good. Bad guy got away, which is cool because it sets up like maybe we can have more of these cool kids in space doing Goonie things. And we can have nice things. I do think it's one of those shows that people have missed the boat on. Because I think there is an overabundance of Star Wars now, as opposed to when we were kids, when it was like, we have 2 movies, and then we're going to get a third movie in 3 years.
Right.
And then we wait 20 years. You know what I mean? And then we get another 3 movies that are 3 years apart. Now there's Star Wars all the time, and people kind of go, oh. But I would urge them, if you, I don't know who needs to hear it. I said this before, and I'll say it again. If you enjoy the idea of like an Amblin-like movie where kids are actually in peril, and they're adventurous kids. They have good personalities. They're cool. Nothing is ever going to be the Goonies, but the kids in Skeleton Crew have a good vibe to them. They're fun and they're engaging and they're like. I encourage everybody to watch Skeleton Crew, but that's just me.
What is that on?
It's on Disney Plus.
Oh, it's right on. Makes sense.
Also, there was some Alien Romulus news this week. Because I will pull for this particular piece of the franchise because I was such a big fan of. I think Romulus is one of the better Alien movies. Anyway, there was some Alien Romulus news with regards to the sequel, where the sequel is headed. The idea that he's got that he has different things planned for it than just the regular kind of like just an idea. It's going to go in a different direction. Sofidi Alvarez, basically the movie's at basically 350 million global box office, which kind of brings the franchise back from the edge.
Is it
Sometimes
still going
franchise,
to be in between that time frame?
yes, it's definitely going to be in between the time frame. So he gave an interview with Empire where he basically said, um, they're going to try to navigate new territory. We checked all the boxes and the things that I want to see in Romulus, and brought back a lot of things I hadn't seen in a while. Wherever we go, we can go into uncharted waters. I think it'll be exciting to go with characters from the movie to a place in the alien franchise that we've never seen before, and discover things you've never seen before. Now, I think they did a really good job setting up, well, two things. One, I don't know if anybody, we haven't talked about this on the show because we definitely went to break, but you've watched Romulus, right, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know that Ripley's ship is in the goddamn cargo hold?
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
We did. Okay.
And I didn't see that the first time.
But it's there when the pregnant woman, is getting chased by the
Yeah, I just didn't see
by
it.
the big Bob, by the big alien, right? The alien that's kind of like grabbing bodies, and it's the one that kills the guy with the acid because he sticks it into the cocoon. But Ripley's ship is there. So that means Ripley's ship gets thrown off course because, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but they end with having all of the injections except the one that produced the new creature, right? The baby, right? That killed the mother, right? So, but they have all of that goop that did horrible things to the rat in the cage. And theoretically, they're wanted by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, right? They stole shit. They stole scientific material. Technically, Andy is a stolen piece of Weyland-Yutani property as well.
He was the best.
He was really great. A really great performance. The Toxic Avenger reboot coming to theaters in 2025.
Wasn't that like the Peter Dinklage thing or something?
Peter Dinklage is doing it, yeah. So yeah. Just finished What If Season 3. It was okay, but compared to X-Men 97 or Creature Commandos, it doesn't meet up, which is sad because the first two seasons were fun. Yeah, I think as we progress with the What Ifs, Raven, we're going to have, they got to pick and choose where they go. I think the biggest thing is that they introduced Kahori, one of the new Marvel characters. We don't know what's going to happen. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. Raven, are you talking about mixed reviews about Alien? That would be interesting. Happy to hear Creature Man is getting a second season. Yeah, not to be unexpected. Because that show hit it out of the park. That's on Max, Jerry. Jerry looks like he's gonna jam. That would be a fun set. Jerry doing movie theme.
Yeah, I'm usually wearing headphones. Usually it's these though, but these don't have a microphone on them. So I plug these in and I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me.
This is interesting. Jerry doing show or movie themes or something, and Kyle and JW have to guess.
Well, I could do that. You'd know them instantly, though. You would.
Well, it's like dun 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 dun. Oh, okay.
Right?
Well,
do the MASH theme.
well,
I know all those. The Odd Couple, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched. I know all of them.
Well, I think you'd have to do it. Wouldn't you have to do it like in a name that tune fashion, Raven? I can name this in 4 notes. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah, because if I played the theme, you would know it. I mean, like the Pink Panther.
Well, actually, I think this is also Raven. Dun, 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 dun.
That's actually in one of our songs. That's funny though. Years ago.
The problem here, Raven, is I think this particular comment, you're setting Kyle up for failure.
We'll do the Twilight Zone theme.
Stuff he has not listened to ever. I can't wait to get to the Twilight Zone. Jesus, Twilight Zone tonight. One of the truly great episodes. The fun would be, and you learning them, Jerry, and yeah, JW in notes. Maybe Yep, Kyle would lose. I don't know that he would lose. I know. I will. Like people ask me all the time.
He'd know a lot of them, I'm sure.
I'm sure he would. But also, should be an interesting. I'm going to give you a foray into my knowledge, my movie knowledge. My movie knowledge is not necessarily famous. Like I can do famous lines sometimes, or character names or anything. But my knowledge is more in the production back end. Like I know who directed whatever movie or who wrote whatever movie. You know what I mean? Like my knowledge isn't necessarily in that kind of like, because people ask me all the time, like, what movie is this from? And it's like, I don't know, but I can tell you who wrote it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's where it gets a little weird. How about this? Let's do something fun tonight because we don't have Kyle and we have people in the chat room and stuff.
We're not allowed to do anything fun when Kyle's here.
When Kyle's here, he brings us all down. Now, joking. I miss Kyle. Why don't we do this? What have you guys seen, or what do you guys want to talk about? No Nosferatu naked, Raven. Is that shit? Christ. I know Joe was watching Nosferatu tonight. That by the way,
watched. I got on like a little Robin Williams kick.
Oh, okay.
In the last day, and I watched 1 Hour Photo and Insomnia.
Yes, the two movies where I decided I'm going to play Homicidal Maniac.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just was like,
well, you know what? Insomnia is a pretty great movie. That's Christopher Nolan. Like that
was all right.
Pacino and him going to war.
He actually does pretty good as somebody who's psychotic, you know.
Well, I mean, I think part of his allure is that he was always
weird.
He was always on one step ahead mentally, doing the jumping jacks. She wrote, "Oh, come on, you love the pics I sent you." No, I don't. I don't.
Glad I didn't get them.
Raven, you should send them to Jerry.
No, I changed my messenger phone number.
I haven't watched anything. I've been cleaning up my movie server, time consuming. Oh, sorry to hear that. There are a lot of movies out. I'm doing The Brutalist tomorrow, and so The Brutalist I'm doing tomorrow in IMAX. It starts at 2:30. We won't get out of the theater until 6:30. And there's a 15-minute intermission, a pee break. It's one of the very few movies that's been released to American theaters in the last 10 years. Although we went to see Lawrence Arabia and we had an intermission. I was so excited, like because I was like thinking to myself, we're gonna have to get through this 3.5 hour movie without anything. And then midway through the second act of the movie, they did an intermission. I was like, we need more movies with intermission. Like that's
how laser discs are.
Yeah, it feels dramatic when the intermission word comes up on the screen and you're like, oh, my favorite.
Yep, and then it plays that music.
Yeah, my favorite intermission story of all time. In 1983, when my dad ran a movie theater, he played Scarface. We had Scarface for Christmas. That was a Christmas movie that year. One of the most violent, brutal movies ever put on film. And so
I've always been loyal to you, Frank.
Jesus, it's a great movie. It's over the top. It's amazing. Pacino is like he's chewing up scenery, and there are scenes where he doesn't have any scenery to chew on. So then he goes up one side of an actor and down the other side of the other actor in the scenes. But so in that movie, there's a sequence where Tony takes over Frank's thing, and he takes over his mansion. He takes over his entire fucking life, and it just says "The world is yours," and there's a spinning globe. And if you watch the movie at my dad's theater, that is where he put the intermission. Him and the projectionist Mel Cooperberg, a licensed, unionized projectionist, which we don't have a lot of these days. Basically, they cut the movie right there because there wasn't a place where to put it. And so when we bought Scarface on VHS or Beta, whatever we bought it on, in the next couple of years, like when it came out in like '86 or whatever, because it was like 3 years before movies hit video cassette. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yep.
When we went, it was 2 tapes. It was a 2-tape movie, and the movie, the cut was exactly where my dad cut the movie.
I might have to look for that. I have Scarface.
Yeah.
I might have it. I might have that 2-tape. I'll have to look.
But he was so excited. Can you imagine the
Because that'll be
excitement?
interesting.
Like I cut it
Yeah.
in the right place. And I'm like, as I got older, I started telling him, of course you cut it in the right place. It's the only place to actually, the perfect place to cut the movie. The first is his rise. The second is, it's not nearly the genius stroke, just to bring him down a peg. Because every once in a while we do that to our parents for no reason. We act like assholes. You know what I mean? Like we're just like,
Yep.
take it down a peg. You're not that brilliant. And in reality, it was super brilliant. Yeah. But anyway, but I've been trying to catch up on stuff. Oh wait, what is going on? You're coming.
That's me.
That is you. Your computer. Oh, and the transition.
All right.
Here we go. Now we got 2 Jerrys.
Hold on, I'm cutting this one off. There we go.
There you go. Oh, we're back.
The computer finally updated. Thanks a lot.
Finally
Windows.
updated. Thank Christ.
Windows updates at the most inopportune time.
Thanks, useless Windows.
So much
yeah,
better.
I mean, I think the interesting thing. I've been watching a lot of older movies. I rewatched The Fog. I forgot how much I love The Fog. Like it's such a simple movie. It's only an hour and 26 minutes.
Too. Like his music is brilliant.
His music makes the movies.
Absolutely.
Everything he does, makes him a better filmmaker. But The Fog, rewatching The Fog, I forgot how simple it is.
You don't have to misspell.
Fog shows up. They're having a big party. People are like, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. Let's see. I appreciate you, gents. Thanks for repping the Escape Network. Joe, somebody asked if you're feeling better. I would also ask, have you watched Naked Nosferatu? Raven would want to know what you thought of the Nosferatu. I know you were watching it with your wife. I don't know how comfortable it is. Jerry clones himself, and it seemed like C's tried to send a mass alarm at the same time. Yeah, it was very. The sounds were very reminiscent of the 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. One of the rare reboots that's as good as not as good, but at least in the same fucking ballpark as the original.
I like it.
78 one's, I think, a little creepier. The 56 one is a little bit like, yeah, the 56 one is great. Kevin McCarthy is great now. You know what I mean? Like it's a great all-time paranoia movie. They're coming to get you. They're here already. Fuck. Yep. Okay. We're 49 minutes in. Let's do something that people maybe want to see. I don't know. Kyle makes me think nobody wants to see stuff, but yours they definitely do. It came from Jerry's basement. What did we pick this week, Jerry? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna put
this
you full
week.
Screen. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna put you full screen. No, I lied. Hold on. Now no. What happened? What is going on? I don't know how to do it. Hold on. No. It's okay. We're done. I'm done. I'm done doing this. Okay. This is terrible. Oh my god. Okay.
You're good.
What do we pick?
This week is Dreamscape with Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid,
and Eddie Albert.
Eddie Albert, Kate Capshaw. What year was that movie made, Jerry? Do you know?
This movie, it's 84, I want to say.
84. Interesting things here. 1984 came out August 15th, 1984. What is interesting about Dreamscape to me is that it is a dream movie. Look at you with the beta. Shiny beta.
Yes, another beta.
Look at that. Nice. But Dreamscape, this is the movie. Basically, it's about a CIA led team that basically uses psychics who can go into people's dreams. And there you go. One version of the CIA is using it possibly to assassinate people, and they take mental patients and do all kinds of shit there. And then basically, Eddie Albert plays the U.S. president who's having terrible dreams about the end of the world. And so it's surreal, it's fun, it's really well done, and it has this gentleman in it. And this gentleman, he's in a lot of movies. His name is David Patrick Kelly.
He's always good at playing a bad role.
Yeah, he's in The Warriors.
Like a bad guy role.
He's in 48 Hours, Commando, The Crow. He's in a lot of movies from our childhood.
He's sent in to kill
the president in his dreams.
But
now the
shape he takes on, though, that was terrifying when I was a kid.
The Snake Man is pretty impressive.
That was awesome.
If you look real closely, he's at the top of the poster here.
Yeah, that was.
And his whole thing is he's whipping around the entire poster, which is a great poster. I think it's a Drew Stuzan poster. It's one of those posters that looks like it's from the 80s. And what I would say is the interesting thing here, Jerry, this movie came out in August of 1984, right? And then, you know how we sometimes say Hollywood has the same idea at the same time?
Yes.
For every Dante's Peak, there's a volcano.
Right.
Right? This came out in August of 84. Another movie that people might would be surprised that it was in the same ballpark and same year, within 3 months of each other, which is amazing if you think about it. Hold on, I'm going to bring it up. I'm sure you know it. Mother plus bucket.
Not Nightmares, is it?
It is. No, not Nightmares.
Oh.
It's this Nightmare.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street comes out the exact same year, 3 months apart from Dreamscape. And I think, I think Dreamscape doesn't get its flowers, even though it's a really cool movie, right? Max von Sydow's in it. It's got George Wendt from Cheers. Yep. It's a really fun little movie. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes. It's like an hour and 39 minutes. It did okay, but it didn't do Nightmare on Elm Street money, right? But it's one of those movies that I think, every once in a while the second movie is what's the bigger hit, right? And also the second movie in this particular case, this second movie is one of the greatest horror films ever made. And as I told you a couple months ago, I think it might be, for me, looking back, I love Friday the 13th. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love great, great slasher movies. But I think Nightmare on Elm Street, the rewatch this year for me, was just, it is a step above everything else. And I think part of the problem for Dreamscape is, once they started hitting video together, Freddy's always going to win. You know what I mean? Nightmare on Elm Street is always going to win. But this is a good movie with similar concepts.
Right. Even the dream sequences are similar.
Yeah, they're heightened.
Even that scene right there with the red and everything like that.
This is basically
that's
Eddie
stuff
Albert,
right out of Nightmare on Elm Street too.
Right, Eddie Albert is the U.S. president, and the nightmares he's having that the CIA is trying to help him with, but also that the other shadow CIA is trying to kill him with, is he's having visions of what would happen if he started a nuclear war. Right, so it's got a surreal quality, but it also plays with the same ideas that Nightmare on Elm Street played with. That if you die in your sleep, you die. Right, if you die in your dreams, you don't. So I just think it's an interesting little movie because Dennis Quaid is kind of playing he's cocky, arrogant psychic. He's kind of like the psychic that can can like read people's minds and uses it to get a free cup of coffee when the CIA finds him. You know what I mean? He's playing into his strengths as with his charisma, and everybody that gets located into this group. I'm also surprised Dreamscape is one of the movies that never really got rebooted or anything. Like, that movie would be a perfect vehicle for like a cult status reboot. Maybe Dennis Quaid's running the program now. You know what I mean? Like, you could.
Yeah. I always liked it though.
It's a fun movie.
When we saw it, like when we were kids, like I said, that when he turned into that Snake Man, it was like
Snake Man is terrifying, and the visual, like the Snake Man is terrifying, and like that it is well known for its visual effects. It was well received, right? It's pretty decent on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 79%.
But this, you could find this everywhere. I mean, this is on Tubi. I'll go right to Tubi because it is on there.
Yeah, it was.
It was so obscure.
It only had a $6 million budget too. That's the other thing. It's directed by Joseph Rubin. Screenplay by Chuck Russell, who would go on to direct A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors, which is also interesting. It's written by Chuck Russell. Chuck Russell would later go on to do a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So it's this, it's like ahead of its time, but it's also right in line. The director, Joseph Rubin, he made a couple of other movies, but not a lot of he made, let's see, he's involved with Stepfather, pretty great.
I have that.
Terry O'Quinn movie, True Believer, Sleeping with the Enemy, The Good Son. He also produced Money Train. So he's definitely somebody that did some work. And he's still alive. 74 years old. Biggest hit was Sleeping with the Enemy because he had Julia Roberts. A great movie, something to find on Tubi. And now let's get some comments before we move on. Hold on. Am I the only one who liked Nosferatu? No, Missy liked it too, and so did Hunter, Missy's son. I didn't hate it. I'm just telling you, I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I don't think it's better than Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is what I was hoping for. Ooh, Dreamscape is good. How close was it to Brainstorm? Brainstorm. That's a great question.
Brainstorm was an okay movie. I have that over here.
Brainstorm came out in '83, I believe. Hold on.
Wait a minute. Just wait 1 minute. Keep talking.
Brainstorm came out in '83. Brainstorm, of course, is most known for. It's the movie that Natalie Wood passed away on. Directed by Douglas Trumbull.
This movie, right?
Brainstorm. That's Brainstorm. Oh, look at that. Ooh, it's an MGM box.
Yeah, it's a big box.
That's how fucking lame I am. Is I know that's an MGM box.
The MGM, there it is, up in the corner.
Yeah, the MGM box. But Brainstorm came out in '83.
Christopher Walken.
That's a little different, Jasper. They do directly records and replace sensory experiences.
There's your cast.
An emotional, great cast. Christopher Walken, Natalie Wood, Louise Fletcher, and Cliff Robertson. So it's pretty amazing. But it's mainly known as the movie that Natalie Wood died on, right? And they had to do some of her stuff. Digging the purple, curious about the color change, but dig it nonetheless. I don't know. I'm just screwing around. I'm just screwing around with different things. I've changed some of the. I was thinking about it. There's no reason to keep the colors, and I shouldn't have. I've been playing around with this too, but that one's not as good as the one I did tonight. The one I did for tonight's show, I'm super happy about. Although there was a black and white version of it that I was kind of in love with that I didn't do. And so, but you know, so I don't know. I don't know, something nice. This is the new design. So I'm going to take us out for a second, Jerry. I'll bring that back, and then
It has a sci-fi feel.
it has, I don't know. The purple and black is cool. I like Prince too. Fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I was talking to Joe about it, right? At some point, I told Joe we can only do red and white, and that's stupid. Why limit us? I'm on the other side of 50 now. I can do whatever the fuck I
Anytime
want.
you want.
That's exactly right. And so
It's really the content that counts the most, right?
yes, that's all that matters, is that people are showing up to listen to us ramble about shit and have a good time as friends.
Listen to us in
Um,
red, purple,
Twilight Zone
green,
Redux.
blue.
Holy shit, Jerry. Holy shit, Jerry. Tonight's episode is called The Howling Man. I'm going to leave a picture up for a second. Can I tell you, Jerry, the second season, what is amazing is this is Serling inserting himself into the picture that the show starts with, and he does it via green screen behind. So it's super cool because everything's going on in the background, and it's clearly a screen behind him that he is walking in front of, like in a theater, right? It looks like, because it looks like a VistaVision screen behind him, right? And everything's a little bit blurry and out of focus. But this is the opening narration. This is episode 5, season 2. It's the 41st episode of the Twilight Zone, aired on November 4th, 1960. The episode's based on a short story by Charles Beaumont, published in November 1959, issue of Rogue magazine. So it's written by Charles Beaumont, directed by Douglas Hayes. One of the very few episodes in season 2 that do not have Rod Serling in control in some capacity as a writer or director, which is amazing. Here's the opening narration. The prostrate form of Mr. David Ellington, scholar, seeker of truth, and regrettably finder of truth, a man who will shortly arise from his exhaustion to confront a problem that has tormented mankind since the beginning of time. A man who knocked on a door seeking sanctuary and found, instead, the outer edges of the Twilight Zone. So the episode begins with a very wild-eyed David Ellington, like he's telling a story to somebody. And we don't necessarily know who the story is being told to until the very end of the episode. But he basically tells a story of walking through post-World War I Europe around 1919. And he gets lost in a storm. Sees an ancient castle. It is the creepiest opening of any Twilight Zone episode thus far. Would you agree? It's a dark and stormy night is the byline of this
Especially
episode.
the guy that answers the door.
Yeah, the guy answers the door is fucking creepy. So he knocks at the door, pleads for help. He's lost. It's home to a monastic order. He's told by the monk who opens the door that they do not allow visitors. Ellington begs. The monk, goes to the person. He names his brother Jerome. Ellington waits. Hears a wolf-like howl coming from inside the castle. The monk returns and basically says it's merely the wind.
It's the wind.
And then they take Ellington to meet Brother Jerome, the leader of the order. After Ellington explains himself, Brother Jerome announces that there's no help to be had here and that Ellington must leave immediately. So he walks out, he collapses. So there's a whole, why the fuck aren't these monks helping him kind of thing. He again, when Ellington awakens, he's in a kind of in a room. He hears the howling again. He investigates and finds a man in a cell. No big deal. And basically, he said the man tells him that he's been imprisoned by all these crazy monks and beaten by Brother Jerome using the staff that Brother Jerome carries. And the staff that they're carrying looks like a Moses type.
Moses staff, yeah, it does.
A Moses type sheep herding staff. And
they all look like Moses.
They all look like it's a monastic order that looks like they don't shave and they all wear tunics at best. So once they see him talking to the prisoner, they freak out and basically they take him back to Brother Jerome. And then Ellington finally agrees to leave, but threatens to go to the police. Brother Jerome is like, no, you can't do that. And basically he tells him the truth. And he tells Ellington that the prisoner is the devil himself and can only be contained by Brother Jerome's staff of truth. Basically, that the devil had come to the village shortly after World War I to corrupt the village, but Brother Jerome and the rest of the monks used the staff to imprison him. And basically, from 1919 to 1924, the world has been given peace because they've kept him at bay in this room.
Yep.
And Ellington pretends to believe the story, but basically they don't believe that he believes it. So Brother Jerome, basically assigned somebody to watch him. Then the guard falls asleep, Jerry, because
Of course he does.
Because of course he does, because we can't have nice things.
Guard in history falls asleep. What else is new?
But they all have the cool shepherd
That
thing,
dude,
right?
though.
Look at
how
that dude.
creepy is that?
Yes. And this is Brother Jerome, played by the amazing David Carradine, or John Carradine, I should say. Sorry. And so basically they don't believe him, but his guard falls asleep, creeps out of the cell, sees the doors held shut only by a staff that is basically within. The guy could literally put his arm out the door and take the staff off. But Ellington doesn't pay any attention to that. He removes the staff. As the prisoner exits the cell and pins, he basically does a whole fucking gotcha thing where he puts his hand out. Ellington collapses to the floor, and with a wave of the hand, and as he walks towards the exit, he begins to change.
I like how he changes as he's passing the pillars.
The change is great. The change is amazing. He changes as he's passing the pillars, and when he gets to the edge by the window, this is the final form. At which point he puts his hand down and fire comes out of the ground and he disappears. Amazing, right? And
Yep.
Just incredible. And so, basically, Brother Jerome comes out. Once the guy turns to the devil, Ellington's like, I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. And Brother Jerome basically says, that's the inability of man to recognize the devil has always been our greatest weakness, which is fantastic storytelling. So then it cuts to Ellington, and he's been telling the story to his maid. And basically, he's gone on this quest the rest of his life to hunt down the devil, to atone for the mistake he made on that day in the monastery. And basically, he lists off the things that have happened. Like through World War II, he's chased them, the Korean War, the development of the Manhattan Project. But, he tells the maid, I finally caught him. I just need to get him to Brother Jerome. And I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I will be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, don't open this door no matter what you do.
Don't open this door no matter what you hear or do. But he's acting like a meth head. Okay? And basically she looks at the door, and the door, if you look at it, it's a tiny little latch with a tiny little hook, just like that.
It has the
And
staff.
It's
right?
the staff. It's a staff-like thing that holds them in, and all you see is the maid reaching for the staff, moving it, and opening the handle. After the maid hears a howl from behind the door, and the closing narration as she's doing it is ancient folk saying, "You can catch the devil, but you can't hold him long. Ask Brother Jerome. Ask David Ellington. They know, and they go on knowing in the end of their days and beyond in the Twilight Zone." This was the first aired episode of the second season that was not written by Rod Serling. Charles Beaumont is one of the great writers that, very much like, some of the other people we've talked about that are on this show that are involved in the writing of this show. He originally envisioned the monks would keep the devil in prison by putting a cross in front of the door, so the cross. But basically, CBS and the producers decided that the religious community was already having trouble with the Twilight Zone, and they didn't want to upset anybody by putting a
want
cross.
to do them a disservice.
Well, we all know that religious folk in this country are super amenable and understanding of tough storylines. And so
music.
they made the Staff of Truth, and it is just one of the great episodes. It's scary, and it's like Ellington is both, and he is. Remember in high school when you were in English class and a narrator you can't trust. He is the quintessential narrator you can't trust because he's done a mistake in his life. And so but it's just well written, and it's like it's this very savvy story about containing evil, and the idea that Beaumont, and falling for it, and the idea that Beaumont has connected it to the time frame it happens is between World War I and World War II, when there were 5 years of peace, right? When there are a good 5-10 years of peace,
right?
It's a perfect. It's just amazing.
I just like how they handled the transformation, though. I thought that was pretty inventive. I mean,
well, yes, because
it's talking now by now standards, it's like, But I mean, looking at it back then, every time he passes,
well, it's you know what we started tonight's episode talking about the Wolfman.
Cool,
it is very similar to the original Lon Chaney Wolfman, which is series of pictures,
right,
in full time. But the creative device they use of walking behind a thing, and he's a different. Like the horns have the first time he comes out, the horns have little nubs.
Yes.
And then the last time he comes out, he's in full fucking.
Yeah. What is it like?
Devil.
I think there's like 3 or 4 steps.
Yes.
Before he gets to that.
And his ears start huge and curved, and by the time he gets to the fucking window, he is. If this were in color, it would have been astounding. But he's full. He's full devil regalia. By the time he gets to the end, it's a fucking huge cape. It's, like
that should have been Christopher Lee.
He might as well have a fucking pitchfork, because he becomes the 60s and 70s version.
Yeah,
that you see in like drugstores and everything went for Halloween for kids. If you think about it, you remember the old costumes, the old Halloween costumes?
Yep. Oh yeah, they look like that, exactly like that.
Old Halloween devil costumes, right? I was thinking about that, like when we talk about, the ones from like
the Ben Cooper costumes.
Wait, I was
that we used to wear when we were kids. Everybody had them. Plastic mask, plastic apron.
Wait, so I'm gonna put the picture up, and then
I was the Kraken, John. I can't.
The Kraken was amazing. That was great.
I tried to look for it, but I can't.
I saw yesterday they had somebody had Guillermo del Toro put up a thing where people had laser printed a series of action figures from Clash of the Titans.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I was like, but they had everybody. They had fucking Calibus. They had the fucking.
Oh, I'd love to have a Calibus though.
A Calibus with the fucking.
Even the Medusa.
The Medusa came with a detachable head.
That's fantastic.
And it was bigger than all the other figures. So she was like 8 feet tall. Okay, so I'm going to put a picture. I want everybody to see. This is the kind of inspiration that. So this is what he looks like in the episode, and then this is a circa 1960s, 70s devil costume. Ready?
Yes, Ben Cooper. There you go.
Tell me that the Twilight Zone doesn't inspire things.
Right?
Look at the fucking nubs. Look at the head.
Yeah.
Look at again, this show is an incredible resource. A couple comments. Let's see. Where creatives unite. I was going to talk about that, Joe. I think we're going to change the name of the network. I think it should be Creatives United Network.
You know who said that, don't you?
Brought to you tonight by Schlag Locks. Schlag Locks, don't let this happen to you. Joe Ridgely, getting better every day. Thank you. Everybody's worried about you. This is an amazing episode. It really is. It's such a good episode, and it's dark, but it's not overly dark, and it's hopeful, but it's also the interesting character, the Ellington character, is like he's made this huge mistake, and then he has to go all over the world trying to solve it. But, a great episode.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Next week we get another. It's not all time classic, but it's a pretty good episode that I know a lot of people have seen. It's called Eye of the Beholder.
It's not the Shatner one, is it?
No, no, it is not. But it is.
That one's coming up, though, right?
That one is coming up. This Eye of the Beholder is Maxine Stewart, Donna Douglas. Nobody really major, but get this: written by Rod Serling, directed by Douglas Hayes, but the music, kids, is this little guy named Bernard Herrmann.
Oh yeah.
And here's the thing: if you don't know who Bernard Herrmann is, you do.
You do. Yes.
You do.
You do.
You just don't know that it's his music that you're listening to.
Yes.
But he is one of the truly great composers from the 50s, 60s, 70s.
More things than you know.
Absolutely stunning material that he makes. Like, so he does the music for Eye of the Beholder, and I'm totally looking forward to it. He's one of the great composers, Academy Award winner. So, and like music again, the music that you know him from is far greater than, music for Citizen Kane, Anna and the King of Siam, Obsession, Taxi Driver, The Day the Earth Stood Still, North by Northwest, The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, Taxi Driver. He's just one of the great Bernard Herrmann score. He's just one of the absolute.
Those guys deserve a lot of credit. They really do.
Well, actually,
music, like you said before, sometimes music makes it. Like John Carpenter.
Listen to it. Yeah, listen to his 57, 56 through. Let's do 56 through 63. He did. Actually, let's start at 56. Man Who Knew Too Much, Man in the Gray Flannel Suit, The Wrong Man. 2 Hitchcocks right there. Williamsburg, The Story of a Patriot, Hatful of Rain, Vertigo, 3 Hitchcocks. Naked and the Dead, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, North by Northwest, 4 Hitchcocks. Blue Denim, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Psycho, 5 Hitchcocks. 3 Worlds of Gulliver, Mysterious Island, Tender as the Night, Cape Fear, Jason and the Argonauts, The Birds, Marnie, Joy in the Morning, Torn Curtain, 8 Hitchcocks. So he worked with Hitchcock. So if you've thought about the Psycho theme, that's what we're going to be getting next week in our Twilight Zone music. I'm looking forward to it. Eye of the Beholder. Jerry, where can people find you?
Facebook. I don't know. Instagram. YouTube. TikTok for now.
For now.
For now.
It got 90 days to sell to another billionaire, Jerry. I'm sure we're going to find it. We're going to find the hope. Somebody, I pray, has the money to buy the second most popular search engine and stuff in the history of the world. Let's see. It is plastic surgery. It is a plastic surgery episode. Hi, gays. I assume that's hi, guys. Love you guys. Yeah, we love you. Your husband tonight, Missy. You can find me, JW the Movie Guy, Facebook, Twitter, all the places. Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I'm everywhere as JW the Movie Guy. You can also find me. We have shows coming up this week. You can also find me on this show with Troy Hill Talks on Thursday night at 10. Troy Hill, new to our network, 2 episodes in. We have him and we have comedian Robert Bass who are absolutely killing it. And I will be on with Troy Hill talking about my 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. Yeah, Superman's the top of the fucking list. Superman should be at everybody's list. I don't care what anybody says. You can bitch all you want, but it should be on the top of everybody's list. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be back next week. And I'm not going to tell you what we're doing for Generation Movie next week, but it might have a Yellow Brick Road. It might have a Scarecrow. And it might not be the movie you're thinking of. Kyle's not here, but he's got a show coming up in September on September 20th in Scranton. Okay. So yeah, we have September 20th. So like Rocky Horror. Excellent.
That's the Rocky Horror thing, right?
That's the Electric City announcement that's coming. Well, we'll talk to him next week about that. Thanks you guys for the love. We appreciate you. Everybody have a great night. Stay safe. Go watch something. Oscar nominations on Thursday. We'll have a full recap next Tuesday of what the Oscar nominations are looking like. Looks like it's going to be a big day, possibly for The Brutalist, big day for Wicked, and some of the smaller movies, Anora, The Substance. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for joining us. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.